like this, that odor is getting pushed hard this way. This one's getting pushed, but not as hard as that one is. So this thing starts to elongate out this way. That one is no longer getting pushed, it's actually being shortened. So as it starts to elongate out, it also starts to move that way. And that's what you're seeing when you watch the way it works. Exterior, that's why I talk about it like a lava lamp. It just starts to grow like this. Interior, you don't have that. In other words, the odor is pushing, and it's just being pushed by the odor itself, rather than the air movements. Out here, when that air movement starts doing that, you'll see the dog go in different ways, different directions. So if we think too much, that's why our thinking is, we don't let them go far enough.
Right.
And then other times we think, well, that should be far enough. Okay? The difference is, what the good Lord put in the dog was patience to override the human. And so the dog, by doing that, you can put pressure on the dog to where he now makes choices without having all the data. And that's why it takes him a little longer sometimes. Where if he's off leash, you're not influencing the same way, then he makes those wider arcs and comes right back in. Especially like your border collie, big outlines, and they come back in again, off leash. So that's what will happen in here, especially with these suspended hides. Because when they're up in the air, they're coming to the ground. But when they hit the ground, everything that hits that ground is there. It'll start to move, but it'll hit things. Everywhere it hits, it traps a little bit. It'll hold for a period of time, and then it starts to get older and older and older, and then dissipates. The hose across there, how many, you see all those dogs sniff that hose? That hide dropping down. When it drops and hit that ground anywhere in there, the wind starts to move it, but it can't move it past the hose until it pushes enough to go over the hose. But a certain amount of it gets hung under that hose. The same way like tufts of grass. That's what's so good about an open area like this. You'll see them hit tufts of grass, larger rocks. Not the small rocks, the larger rocks. Same thing, that odor is bouncing in there, trapping, but they go. And the best part is we got to see here, when they get over there on that ridge, they get all three odors. And all three of those odors, when they get there, they are not combined. They're still three separate odors, but they're a big knot when they get there. So there's no line back to any one of those three. That's why it's almost like kind of like a twisted wires, where you just take a ball of wires, a whole bunch of electrical wires, different colors, put them all together, you know, ball them up. That's what happens with that, especially with the gusting wind. And then when it gets to the outer edges of it, if the dog will work out there, you know, like really good yeoman. You can see her when she caught the clean line. When she got that clean line, she had three odors up with her. And she was playing with all three of them, and then she finally caught the one clean one. Boom, right straight to it. What did she do? Because of that success, immediately goes back over to there. See, so that's that converge. That's an area, like the roundabout I talk about. They go back into it, and she's hoping for better, because of success. She had success, she will repeat that. So she goes over there. Didn't give her as much success, so you can see her, but she kept testing it. Tested it. No success, no success, and then she started to branch out and go from there. That's what's so good about when you watch these like this, you're learning the communication of what the dog is. At the same time, you're also learning to understand how the environment is affecting that communication and why the dog does it this way. So that's what's so important about it. And you can't select, this happened to be a fairly good area for what we did, because we also had the channel, which also affects where that odor moves. But it'll go up. A lot of the dogs wanted to go up a little higher up. Most of them didn't need to go any higher. The one of you guys that would allow the dog to go far enough goes up and makes his own turn, his own choice to turn too. Some of you guys were restricted the dog going all the way up. Either way, it wouldn't matter. The dog would still had all he needed up there. The bush itself, because the way that hide is in there, as the wind keeps shifting it, moving it, it falls. But at the same time, it's being thrown. You know, it's kind of like a salt shaker up there going bounce, throwing that salt over. A lot of it's going into that bush. Everything that goes into that bush is staying in that bush to a point, and it just keeps building up. And the one or two of the dogs, we saw them go under and then into the bush, and all of a sudden, come back out and go right to the hide because they got fresh. It's just that salt shaker, just enough fresh odor in there to trap, along with all that trap odor. So they work real well. That one is the hardest one for them in that sense of pinpointing it at right there under at first. But you see them hit the tree because every time the wind blows that direction, it pushes it against that tree and it's somewhere for it to contain or to hold it. And the difference is, you'll see surfaces like concrete, ice, things like that, won't hold the odor. That tree, like a sponge, odor hits it, it holds a long time. Like you were talking about charcoal. Charcoal absorbs, goes into that fire pit, locks on. That odor holds a long time. But the dog sniffs it to see the age of it. How old is it? Is it old enough? The age of it. And that's why you see them work the way they do. And the more you start to see that, then you put that together with the way that environment is, then you can now just put that in your little ditty bag back there and keep remembering. And you keep learning more and more and more. So now you spot the condition and you'll start to pick up the way the winds are moving. You'll all of it. You'll start to think with the dog, not for the dog. Okay?
When you say age, is it better to, in the human comprehension, I guess, to think of it as cook versus old? Does that make sense?
No, it's actually better to think old.
Old.
It's like
How
wine.
long it's been there.
Yeah.
So why in